Hello guys, in this After Effects tutorials, I want to show you how you can create a gradient signature logo animation like this one. Don't skip the video, let's get started. In After Effects, create a new composition, then you rename your composition, then all other settings is all up to you, so do not worry about that. I'm gonna hit OK to continue. So right click on your timeline, go to new and create a new solid layer. So I'm gonna name this BG, then make sure you click comp size and then hit OK. So I'm gonna Control D on the keyboard to duplicate the solid layer, then hit enter key to rename the solid layer to gradient. Although the name you give this layer does not really matter. So if you like, you can give it your pet name. So I'm going to hide this very one and then select the BG layer and search for the gradient ramp effect. I'll add this. Then I'm going to switch this to the project manager window. Then I will navigate to where I have my logo, drag and drop the logo into the project manager window. So I'm going to set this to footage. Make sure that is what you selected to. Then you hit OK. Now drag and drop it onto the timeline right in between the BG and your gradient layer. This is when we need the hidden solid layer on our timeline. Select it, unhide it, hit T on your keyboard to reveal the opacity. You will know why in a moment. Then drop the opacity to somewhat down like this to a time you can see the logo behind it. So we're gonna pick the pen tool and start tracing this logo right here. But I'm gonna do something different. I'm not gonna trace all the logo directly. Stay there. I'm gonna do something different. Just watch. So pull back a bit. I'm going to draw additional abstract line to connect this logo before I continue tracing this. So you can feel free to draw whatever an abstract line you want to use. Do not follow this. This is only but a guide.
Sana all.
Now start drawing. So this is now where we need to start connecting the logo. So I want to fit this at this time to frames so that I can see it clearly. Do not worry about how perfect your abstract line is. We can go back later and fix that. So let me move this to the tip right here. Now I'm going to go in and trace all of this. So if you fit back to view now, you see that some of these lines are actually not on top of your logo. So we're going to go back into it and make adjustment and make sure everything is falling into place. So I'm going to select this. Then if you want to manipulate this point right here, you hold the Alt key, then pull it back in like this. Then move this around to make sure everything is perfect. So I'm going to repeat the same thing all over the place wherever I see that the things are not following up correctly. So everything is okay now right on the part. So let's fit back to preview and make sure everything is okay. Yes, this is beautiful. I'm only going to look at this area now and just make adjustment to keep everything the way I want it. This is not important. So this is okay. Do not worry about the rest part of the logo that we have not drawn. We're going to take care of that later. So now we're going to make sure our layer is still selected and add an effect called Thicc Stroke. Then you hit T on your keyboard to bring up your opacity again to 100%. That way you can see the effect of the Thicc Stroke that you just added. Thicc Stroke is a free plugin. It allows you to have a gradient part in Adobe After Effects. If you want to know where to get this, you can follow the video on the card above. It's a free plugin that you can download and also know how to use it from the video. Now let's make this look the way we want it. On the effects and control panel, we're going to set the width start and the width end to 15. Then do not worry about the color. We're going to take care of that later. So we're going to move our time indicator to 0. Then we scroll down on the properties here that says trim path. That is one of the beauty of this Thicc Stroke. It comes with its own trim path options. Then we're going to set a keyframe for the start and the end, and then make the entire thing 0. So we're going to move to 1 second 16 frames forward in time. Set start to 60. Set end to 100. Hit U on your keyboard to reveal the keyframes. Highlight all the keyframes. Right click on the keyframe, go to keyframe assistant, then select easy ease. You can also hit F9 to get the keyframe easy eased. Yes, F9. Is that not supposed to be a score for failure? What? All right, we'll leave that for next time. We want to be able to see what our gradient stroke look like, but the path visibility is obstructing that. So we have to check this to disable the path visibility. This way we can see everything we have done. Move your time indicator to this point and then hit N to set the preview. Then now if we play back this now, you're going to see what we have. Beautiful. But this is a flat movement. So we're going to go into the graph editor and make this movement more sexy. Yeah. Now select this, switch your timeline to graph editor. We're gonna right click on this and then select edit value graph. So we're gonna go right here and make this look like an S curve. You can follow what I am doing to mine. Now let's go back to timeline again. Then we select the bottom end keyframe. Then we switch to time graph again, and then make this slightly a smaller S curve. So this will all determine how your movement will look like. So if you now right click, go to edit speed graph, you will see that this has been easy eased. So what I'm gonna do now is to change this a little bit. So I'll pull this back, then pull this in more. That is going to make everything end slowly. That is, it's gonna make the writing or drawing end very smoothly and fluidly. So if you go back now and preview, you will see what a lot of difference this has made. You see, this is a lot smoother. At any point in the animation, we can always go back and tweak the graph look. Then it can also alter the movement of the animation. So if you scrub on your timeline, you will see that the gradient stroke, the colors are not moving with the strokes. The colors are still, they are supposed to be moving along. At every point, you're supposed to see the 3 colors on the gradient, but at some point you will not see it, you will just see 2. So to fix that, we're going to go into the settings right here that set influence. We're going to set that to width and color. Automatically you see that the colors now will follow. Then if you scrub through now, you see at every point the 3 gradient colors are visible. So now let's continue. Hit U to collapse all of these options. Then we're going to right click on your timeline, go to new and create another solid layer. We're going to name this draw 1. Make comp size and then hit OK. So we're going to duplicate this twice. Ctrl D on your keyboard 2 times to do that. So I'm going to select this last duplicate and hide both of them. Then I'll select this here. Hit T on the keyboard to drop the opacity like what we did first and make sure we can see the logo. So what I want to do now is to create an animation or a part from here that will reveal the dot, this first dot right here. Also, in this case, you can feel free to draw the style of the abstract part that you want that will lead to that, but you can also follow my own. Hence, I am your sensei. So with this layer still selected, we're going to pick our pen tool again, then start drawing a path that will lead to this. So I'm going to pull in so that I can see the distance between both. So my screen is pixelated right now, so I'm going to set this to full on the preview so that I can see everything clearly. So I'm going to start from this point right here. I think I am okay like this. I'm just going to refine this quite a bit like I did in the first time. So I'm going to bring back the opacity to 100. Do not worry that you cannot see what you have done. So we're going to go back to this first gradient layer and then select the gradient Thicc Stroke effect from the Effects and Control panel, then Control C on your keyboard to copy it. Then we're going to select this new draw one, then Control V on the keyboard to paste it. That is going to add this, although it will also come with the keyframe. So hit U on your keyboard to reveal the keyframe that comes with it. So what we're going to do now is to set the timing. So I'm going to come right here. So let's hide the path visibility again. Then when you scrub to your timeline, you see that also animating. So the first thing I'm going to do is to alter the keyframe. So at this point where the entire animation is coming to an end for the signature part right here, then I'm going to select all these keyframes. Then I'll move it back in to somewhere here. Then I'm also going to make sure I shrink it quite a bit. Then if you come like this now, you see that everything is proceeding. So I'm going to go into the Thicc Stroke right here and change the width start to 10. That is only for this layer. So I'm going to set the width end to 13. Then every other thing, I'm going to leave it pretty all the same. So you can see now this has created this progression. So, but if you take a look right here, the dot is not written correctly. It still have a longer part. That is because we copied the keyframe from the other one to this one. So to adjust that, we're going to go back to the last keyframe and make sure we set a number that is going to show us a dot. I think 98 should be okay. If you preview, you will see that the animation is going in smoothly. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do right now, let's preview again. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is to repeat the same process with the remaining solid layers here I have on my timeline. Now I'm going to repeat and draw a line to connect this dot with this dot and then connect this dot with this remaining bar on the D of the logo. So I'm going to repeat the same thing I did right here. I have repeated the same thing I did previously on the second draw layer. So now if you preview, this is what we're going to have. Beautiful. You can see the entire logo animation to draw these signature layers are okay. So now it is time to hide our guide layer, which is the logo layer. So once you hide that, you're going to see that you can only see what you have done, and it is now time to go in to set the color. So now let's switch this to Project Manager window. So we're going to navigate to where we have saved and downloaded our color palette from Adobe Colors, then drag and drop it into your Project Manager window. So we're going to also drag and drop it into the timeline right on top of all layer hierarchy. Hit S on your keyboard to scale this down so that it can scale to as little as you can see it. Let's select it and move it so that it cannot obstruct what we are seeing. Let's lock this so that we cannot accidentally move it around. Then we're going to go back to the first layer, that is this first stroke layer that we drew right at the bottom, which is this gradient layer. Select it. We're going to switch this to Effects and Control panel. We can see our colors right here. So we're going to select this blue, double click on it. That is going to pop up our color at the bottom right here. Select the eyedropper tool you can see here. Then you select the blue right here. So you can also copy the codes into it if you want. Then you hit OK. So I'm gonna also do the same thing with this. Double click on this color. And set it to this center one. Then you hit OK. Double click on the yellow right here. Select the eyedropper tool and pick the yellow on the palette. And now this is what you have. So I'm going to repeat the same thing with all other gradient. All the gradient colors for the stroke are set. You can see that. So now let's set the color for the BG. We're going to select the BG right at the bottom of the hierarchy. Then we're going to select this white area to be this dark spot. And then we're going to select the dark area to be this lighter part. And that is going to give us this. So at this point, I'm going to hide the palette because I'm through using it. But I'm going to do one more thing. Hence, my BG layer is still selected, but it's a little bit too bright for my liking. So I'm going to click on the color right here. Let's move this here where we can see. So I'm going to set this and pull this to the darker part so that the BG can be a little bit darker. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other ramp color. Beautiful. This is okay by me. So if you kind of preview this now, you will see everything is clearly visible. But before I do that, there's one more thing I want to do. I don't like the fact that this thing drew to the end right here. So I want to offset this bar for the D, this bar for the D right here. The bar. Is it a bar? Okay. This part for the okay. This part for the D right here. So I'm going to select the layer, hit U on my keyboard to reveal the keyframe. I want it to start coming up exactly when the part is at this spot, something here. So I'm going to move this keyframe all the way back. Then if you preview now, you're going to see that has a different effect. Beautiful. So we're going to not have to wait for that to end before we get the D drawing on. Yes, I don't know what I just said, but try make meaning out of it. So now the next thing we're going to do is to select the bottom gradient layer here. Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it. So we're going to go to this and make sure we set this to all white, lighter color of this. We're going to go way light right here. Do not worry. So we're going to go up right here. We're going to set this to 2. That is the width start to 2 and the end start to 2. Okay, I know you can barely see this. So we're going to select this and just hold down the shift key and then hit the upper arrow key. That is going to move it and offset it like this. So we're going to just simply offset it forward again by hitting the arrow key until we get what is pleasing to our eyes. It is not written on stone. Anything works right here. Just feel free to do this. I just want something creative. So the next thing I'm going to do is to hit U on the keyboard so that I can reveal the keyframes. Then I'm going to offset the keyframe so that it will come later. It will come in a little bit late. I'm also going to expand this. Hold down the Alt key or Option key on your keyboard and drag out to space out this animation for this part. So if you preview now, this is the effect it has, but we don't want to keep seeing it even when the animation has finished drawing the signature logo. So I'm going to select this and move this to the last keyframe right here, our time indicator to the last keyframe. So I'm going to set this start value to 100. That way it disappears after writing. Beautiful. This is exactly what I want. What I'm going to do here is to repeat the same thing I did now on the rest of the drawing. So I went through all this and repeated what I did on all the parts, and this is what I have. I also adjusted the BG because the BG was kind of too white to my liking, so I made it a little bit darker so that I can punch in so that the real logo can be much more contrasting to the BG. Then another thing I did was just to offset the keyframes, that is the timing. Then I adjusted the graph for the keyframes just to end up with this. I didn't show you that because that all depends on your personal preferences. So this is how you can create a gradient signature logo animation in Adobe After Effects. If you learned something new on this video, please hit the like button. That will enable the algorithm to suggest this to more people. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me in the comment section and I'll reply to all questions as quick as I can. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in whatever way you're able to support me, I highly appreciate you. So until I see you again on the next one, my name is SSB Otaru from MotionDigit Studios.